Prepare to embark on a journey through time as we unveil the captivating rise and tumultuous fall of one of history's most legendary figures, Cleopatra. From her cunning political maneuvers to her passionate love affairs with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, Cleopatra's life was nothing short of a grand epic. Witness how this enigmatic queen not only navigated the treacherous waters of Egyptian politics, but also left an indelible mark on the Roman world. But beware, for with great power comes great peril. Discover the secrets, the betrayals, and the monumental events that sealed Cleopatra's fate. Stay with us until the end to find out how Cleopatra's legacy shaped the course of history, even after her tragic demise. This is not just a story, it's a timeless saga of ambition, love, and destiny. Cleopatra VII Theophilopator, born in 69 BC, was the last active ruler of Egypt's Ptolemaic kingdom. Descended from Ptolemy I Soter, a general under Alexander the Great, Cleopatra hailed from a powerful lineage that ruled Egypt from 305 to 30 BC. She was the daughter of Pharaoh Ptolemy XII Auletes and possibly Cleopatra V Tryphena. Her siblings included Berenice IV, Cleopatra VI Tryphena, Arsinoe IV, Ptolemy XIII, and Ptolemy XIV. Renowned for her intelligence and fluency in multiple languages, Cleopatra's education encompassed mathematics, philosophy, oratory, and astronomy. Besides Greek, her native tongue, she spoke Egyptian, Hebrew, Aramaic, and Latin. Cleopatra's early exposure to her kingdom's political turmoil profoundly influenced her future as queen. During her early years, Cleopatra witnessed significant political turmoil, and witnessing her father's struggles to maintain the throne, she delved into political governance. Her father, Ptolemy XII, faced challenges, including a rebellion led by his eldest daughter, Berenice IV. In 58 BC, Ptolemy XII was expelled from Egypt, fleeing to Rome, while Berenice IV took the throne. Berenice's rule was short-lived, she was overthrown, and Ptolemy XII was restored to power with Roman military support in 55 BC. Cleopatra returned to Egypt with her father, observing the intricacies of political alliances and military interventions. This period heavily shaped Cleopatra's understanding of strategic alliances and the balance of power. After her father's death in 51 BC, Cleopatra, then 18, ascended to the throne with her brother, Ptolemy XIII. Despite the joint rule, Cleopatra was determined to assert her authority. Her early reign faced challenges, including tensions with Ptolemy XIII, who sought to overshadow her. Cleopatra's resilience and political acumen were evident as she navigated the power struggle. Her determination to rule effectively drove her to seek alliances that would solidify her position and ensure Egypt's stability. These early experiences in governance and political strategy laid the foundation for Cleopatra's later endeavors as a ruler, deeply entrenched in the intricate power dynamics of her time. The power struggle between Cleopatra and Ptolemy XIII soon escalated into civil conflict. Cleopatra fled to Syria, returning with an army to challenge her brother. In 48 BC, Julius Caesar arrived in Alexandria, drawn by the turmoil and Rome's interest in Egypt. Cleopatra saw an alliance with Rome as crucial for her reign. Legends suggest she was smuggled into Caesar's quarters wrapped in a carpet, marking the start of their political and personal relationship. Caesar's support was vital. With Roman legions, he defeated Ptolemy III's forces at the Battle of the Nile in 47 BC, securing Cleopatra's position as pharaoh. Her reign featured significant reforms to stabilize the economy. Cleopatra focused on enhancing agriculture by promoting better irrigation and land management. She ensured more efficient and fair tax collection, reducing corruption among officials. These measures revitalized Egypt's economy during her tumultuous reign. Cleopatra was a shrewd administrator and patron of the arts and sciences. Under her rule, Alexandria became a cultural and intellectual hub. She supported scholars, poets, and scientists, fostering the city's intellectual climate. Notable institutions like the Library of Alexandria and the Museum thrived during her reign, housing thousands of scrolls and facilitating scholarly pursuits. Cleopatra promoted Egyptian religion and traditions, integrating them with Greek customs. This syncretism unified her diverse subjects, including Egyptians, Greeks, and Jews. Her sponsorship of construction projects, such as temples and monuments, showcased Egypt's prosperity and cultural vibrancy. Alexandria's significance during Cleopatra's reign was immense. As a hub of international trade, it drew merchants from across the Mediterranean, boosting the economy and promoting cultural exchange. Its strategic coastal position and major harbor made it the Mediterranean's leading port. Cleopatra enhanced this by strengthening naval defenses and securing sea routes. She invested in infrastructure, building lighthouses, warehouses, and expanding harbor facilities. The Pharaoh of Alexandria, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, showcased the city's architectural and engineering excellence. Cleopatra's focus on Alexandria solidified its status as a beacon of ancient civilization. The relationship between Cleopatra and Caesar was both political and personal, resulting in the birth of their son, Ptolemy XV Philometor Caesar, known as Caesarion, in 47 BC. Historical accounts suggest Cleopatra visited Rome between 46 and 44 BC, residing in a home provided by Caesar. During her time in Rome, she positioned herself as Caesar's ally, possibly influencing Roman culture. Cleopatra's residence in Rome was first and foremost politically advantageous. By maintaining close ties with Caesar, she secured Egypt's autonomy from hostile forces. In return, Caesar gained substantial wealth and resources from Egypt, crucial for his political campaigns. Cleopatra's presence in Rome sparked curiosity and controversy among the Roman elite. Her exotic allure and intellect made her a subject of fascination and scandal. Despite the whispers, her relationship with Caesar was ultimately beneficial for Egypt. Caesarion's birth symbolized the union between Egypt and Roman power, though it complicated Roman politics. Many Roman senators felt uneasy about Caesar's increasing power and his association with Cleopatra. They feared her influence and the threat it posed to Roman traditions and governance. This tension contributed to the growing discontent that led to Caesar's assassination in 44 BC. After Caesar's death, Cleopatra returned to Egypt. The situation in Rome was tumultuous, and Cleopatra had to ensure her kingdom's stability. She continued to rule Egypt with Caesarion, seen as the potential heir to Caesar. This period marked a strategic phase for Cleopatra as she maneuvered through political uncertainties, ensuring Egypt's continued prosperity and independence from Rome's turbulent political landscape. Cleopatra's return to Egypt marked a new chapter in her rule. Despite Julius Caesar's loss, Cleopatra needed to consolidate her power and secure her throne. Her political acumen shone as she strategically allied with Mark Antony, one of Rome's most influential leaders. Their encounter in Tarsus sparked a passionate love affair and a significant political alliance. Cleopatra aimed to protect Egypt's autonomy, while Antony sought to strengthen his position in Rome. They soon became lovers and partners. Cleopatra bore Antony 3 children: Alexander Helios, Cleopatra Selene II, and Ptolemy Philadelphus. Her influence was substantial, supporting Antony in his military campaigns to secure the eastern provinces. Cleopatra's political acumen and wealth empowered Antony's ambitions. Antony allocated territories to Cleopatra and her offspring, stirring controversy and angering Rome's Senate. Their alliance contrasted sharply with Octavian, Antony's rival and future Emperor Augustus. As their bond solidified, tensions with Rome escalated. Cleopatra and Antony's fate intertwined with the larger political contests defining the late Roman Republic. Cleopatra's naval support in Antony's campaigns exemplified their mutual dependence. Historians often debate the depth of their personal connection versus their political pragmatism. What remains clear is the profound impact of their combined actions on the geopolitical landscape of their era. Cleopatra VII and Mark Antony's alliance experienced both highs and lows. Combining Cleopatra's resources with Antony's military prowess led to temporary successes. When reigning, Cleopatra VII, the last pharaoh of ancient Egypt, meticulously used iconography, presenting herself as a genuine Egyptian goddess. She adopted the imagery of Isis, the goddess of fertility and motherhood, to project her divine status. Cleopatra embraced traditional Egyptian symbols and styles, donning traditional attire with the vulture headdress and horned sun disk. Her effigies showed her with an idealized, youthful face, following the Ptolemaic custom of depicting monarchs as ageless. These elements portrayed Cleopatra as the epitome of Egyptian royalty, expertly merging Hellenistic and Egyptian elements. Roman accounts depicted Cleopatra as a seductress with political savvy. Roman politicians and historians like Plutarch and Dio Cassius often portrayed her as a manipulative temptress who ensnared powerful men like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony to protect Egypt's interests. Such representations were part of Roman propaganda to undermine her legitimacy and vilify her influence. Coins were another important part of it all. Cleopatra's self-presentation through coinage was crucial to her image. Coins from her reign featured her profile, often highlighting her divinity and strength. These coins depicted her with traditionally masculine features, such as a strong jawline and prominent nose, symbolizing power and authority. Inscriptions included symbols like the double crown of Egypt, indicating her rule over both Upper and Lower Egypt. Roman coins exaggerated her features to emphasize her perceived cunning and deviousness, reflecting Rome's bias. Beyond coins, her image in temples and monuments reinforced her divine status. Reliefs and statues depicted her making offerings to the gods, underscoring her role as an intermediary between the divine and mortal realms. Her portrayal with deities like Horus further cemented her status as a goddess on earth. In dealings with high-ranking Roman officials, Cleopatra used her opulent court and wealth to showcase Egypt's splendor and her own regality, starkly contrasting with the Roman Republic's austerity. This contrast enhanced her mystique and reinforced her carefully crafted image as Egypt's majestic and divine ruler. Cleopatra's interactions with high-ranking Roman officials were another arena where she skillfully curated her image. Through her opulent court and displays of wealth, she showcased Egypt's grandeur and her regal aura, which contrasted sharply with the austere values of the Roman Republic. This contrast underscored her unique position as a sovereign and heightened her allure and mystique. Cleopatra's carefully curated image influenced art and literature for centuries. Her iconic representation became a recurring motif, symbolizing feminine power and political acumen. Roman literature, such as works by Horace and Virgil, depicted her with bias, emphasizing her alleged seduction tactics and associations with powerful Romans. This portrayal justified Rome's conquest of Egypt. In contrast, Egyptian records highlighted her divinity and legitimate rule. Cleopatra's legend grew during the Renaissance when artists and writers revisited ancient themes. Painters like Michelangelo and writers like William Shakespeare immortalized her through a Eurocentric lens, often romanticizing her. Cleopatra's image as a powerful yet enigmatic woman and leader, moreover, persisted, blending historical facts with myth and fiction. Her representation as a capable monarch navigating a male-dominated world remained significant. Whether viewed as a divine ruler, political strategist, or seductress, Cleopatra's iconography endures, reflecting the multifaceted nature of her life and reign. But alongside all that, Roman historians and politicians never intended on leaving her be, and gave it their best to burn her good name in the eyes of the people. Roman historians like Plutarch and Dio Cassius depicted her controversially, emphasizing her relationships with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony over her political acumen and leadership skills. Plutarch described her meeting with Antony on the Tarsus River in 41 BC as a spectacle meant to ensnare him, using her beauty and charm as tools of seduction. This portrayal contributed to the image of Cleopatra as a manipulative temptress rather than a capable leader. Roman propagandists, especially those aligning with Octavian, later Augustus, had a vested interest in defaming Cleopatra. Octavian waged a propaganda war to justify his campaign against Antony and Cleopatra, branding her as a foreign seductress and a threat to Roman virtue and stability. This was evident in official war declarations and literary works. Virgil's Aeneid subtly supported Augustan ideology by framing Eastern figures like Cleopatra as the antithesis of Roman values. The Battle of Actium in 31 BC, where Octavian defeated Antony and Cleopatra, further cemented this narrative. Posthumously, Cleopatra's image as a dangerous foreign queen persisted, rooted in victorious Roman propaganda, shaping the long-standing perception of her character and reign. And although coins were minted during Octavian's reign with Cleopatra's face, they depicted her with exaggerated, unflattering features, contrasting sharply with idealized Roman women. Augustus's regime perpetuated her vilification through public speeches and writings, painting her as morally and politically corrupt. Suetonius and Horace further demonized her, focusing on alleged treachery and a decadent lifestyle, starkly opposing the disciplined Roman ethos. This propaganda aimed to cleanse the legacy of Roman leaders like Mark Antony, portraying him as a noble Roman corrupted by a foreign queen. The femme fatale narrative became entrenched in historical literature, influencing subsequent historians and writers, including Shakespeare. The propagandized image of Cleopatra significantly diverged from her actual historical persona, highlighting Roman propaganda's power in shaping historical legacy. Thus, Roman propaganda profoundly influenced Cleopatra's legacy beyond the ancient world. Medieval and Renaissance scholars, relying on Roman sources, perpetuated these skewed depictions. Paintings and literary works from these periods echoed themes of seduction, decadence, and political treachery. Artists like Michelangelo and writers like Geoffrey Chaucer portrayed Cleopatra consistent with Roman narratives, cementing her controversial image. Even today, films and popular culture draw from these ancient sources, often emphasizing her beauty and romances over her political and intellectual achievements. Scholars like Stacy Schiff have reassessed Cleopatra's legacy, highlighting her fluency in multiple languages, administrative skills, and her role as a patron of science and culture. Despite these efforts, Roman propaganda's influence remains significant. This illustrates how historical narratives can be shaped and manipulated by those in power, impacting future generations' perceptions of historical figures. And it can be, and is being done today. You just need to know where to look. However, Antony's 34 BC decision to allocate Roman territories to Cleopatra's children during the donations of Alexandria alienated Rome. This allowed Octavian, Antony's rival, to launch a propaganda campaign portraying Antony as a traitor influenced by an Egyptian seductress. Tensions peaked with Rome declaring war on Cleopatra. The decisive Battle of Actium in 31 BC marked a turning point. Octavian's fleet, led by Agrippa, defeated Antony and Cleopatra's forces. Retreating to Alexandria, their position grew precarious. By 30 BC, Octavian besieged the city. Antony, misled by a false report of Cleopatra's death, took his own life. Cleopatra, facing capture, chose suicide, allegedly by an asp bite. With Cleopatra's death, Egypt lost its last pharaoh. Her death marked the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty, ruling since Alexander the Great. After her passing, Egypt was annexed by Rome, transforming the ancient Mediterranean's geopolitical landscape. Octavian's strategic maneuvers were pivotal in Egypt's fall. Recognizing Cleopatra's influence, Octavian aimed to neutralize her power. His propaganda depicted Cleopatra as a seductress and a threat to Rome's values, justifying his invasion. Cleopatra's alliance with Antony, unpopular in Rome, fueled Octavian's determination. The annexation itself was monumental in Roman history, providing Rome with vast resources, including the Nile's granaries, crucial for feeding the expanding empire. The annexation of Egypt had profound implications regionally and for the Roman Empire. Rome now controlled one of the most fertile regions in the world. The grain supply from Egypt was crucial in feeding Rome's growing population. Additionally, Egyptian wealth, including treasures and revenue from taxing Nile's agricultural lands, significantly boosted Rome's economy. Octavian, now Augustus, solidified his power base with these resources, establishing the Roman Empire. For Egyptians, the change was monumental. The once great kingdom became a Roman province, ruled by a prefect appointed by the emperor. This marked the end of millennia of pharaonic rule and the start of significant cultural and political transformation under Roman governance. Roman architectural and cultural influences permeated Egyptian society, seen in new construction projects and the introduction of Roman laws and customs. However, Egyptian religious practices persisted, with traditional deities worshipped alongside Roman gods. Cleopatra's life and death left an indelible mark on history, her story becoming a symbol of resistance and tragic romance. The fall of Cleopatra and Egypt's annexation by Rome signified the end of an era and the solidification of Roman dominance in the Mediterranean, altering ancient history irrevocably. Often depicted as a figure of beauty and seduction, this view oversimplifies her character. Cleopatra was highly educated, fluent in several languages, and knowledgeable in mathematics, philosophy, and astronomy. She portrayed herself as the embodiment of the Egyptian goddess Isis, reinforcing her divine connection and legitimacy as a ruler. Over centuries, Cleopatra has appeared in various literary works, from Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra to modern novels and films. Her story has inspired countless artworks, often highlighting her beauty and tragic fate. Cleopatra's portrayal in art evolves, reflecting contemporary social and cultural attitudes. During the Renaissance, her image explored exotic themes and feminine grace. Today, she symbolizes intelligence, power, and complexity. Her representation in popular culture remains significant, as seen in the 1963 Elizabeth Taylor film, which brought her story to a global audience. Historical evaluations of Cleopatra vary, from viewing her as a manipulative seductress to recognizing her political acumen and leadership. Modern historians often see her as a shrewd diplomat and strategist who maintained her kingdom's independence amid Rome's expansionist aims. Cleopatra's influence persists in modern times through literature and visual media. In visual arts, Cleopatra has been a favored subject for painters and sculptors. During the Renaissance, she was often depicted emphasizing her beauty and tragic end, reinforcing European ideals of feminine intrigue. Artists like Giovanni Pietro Rizzoli and Guido Reni portrayed Cleopatra's death dramatically, highlighting her personal and political tragedy. Cleopatra's legacy also thrives in academic discourse. Scholars have re-examined her role, questioning traditional portrayals and offering new interpretations, as her command of a vast kingdom and high-stakes diplomacy showcases her exceptional skill and resilience. From video games to contemporary novels, her image is continuously reinterpreted to fit different contexts and audiences. For example, video games like Civilization VI feature Cleopatra as a playable leader, allowing players to engage with her legacy interactively. Even in science fiction and fantasy genres, elements of Cleopatra's story are woven into new and imaginative settings, showcasing her timeless appeal. Moreover, Cleopatra's economic and cultural policies are studied by historians and economists to understand ancient trade systems and cultural exchanges. Her reign provided stability and fostered trade and cultural exchanges between Egypt and other regions, contributing to a rich legacy of economic and cultural diplomacy. And so, the tale of Cleopatra comes to an end. A queen who dared to defy an empire, a woman whose intelligence and allure captivated the world's greatest leaders, and a ruler whose legacy has inspired countless generations. Today, Cleopatra's story reminds us of the timeless dance between ambition and fate, love and power. Her influence still lingers in art, literature, and our very understanding of history. As we close this chapter, let us remember the lessons she left behind: the resilience to lead, the courage to love, and the grace to accept one's destiny. Thank you for joining us on this remarkable journey. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the life of Cleopatra, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more captivating histories. Leave a comment below with your thoughts or who you'd like us to explore next. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and remember, the past has much to teach us. Your one and only friend, History But Fast.